I didn't know what game to do. I need to come up with a game. I was going to do hangman, but then half of them going to do that.
So my name is Dan McLean and I'm Head of Philosophy and Theology at Rugby School. I'm here with 23 of our pupils and 2 other members of staff, and we're here working with Tibet Charity India, helping them teaching English in conversation classes and also going around with their home visit nurses, visiting the elderly in their homes and visiting their animal clinic, really to see what they do there. First of all, made contact with Tibet Charity India through Gapforce, who are the company that we use, who essentially do the logistics, the accommodation, food, travel, etc. They're very, very good.
It was back in 2015 when a Tibetan agent came to me with this offer. He was looking for a volunteer position for 19 students from High School, and he came to me asking whether I could arrange a conversation class with my students. And I was quite happy to have that things because Tibet Charity is actually out from the town, and we don't normally get many conversation teachers. Like I have one teacher for each classes, and I was really happy to get 19 students talking with my students, which I think was very fascinating. I was really interested. And a week later, Daniel came to me, and he was a teacher in High School. So he brought 19 students, and it went really good. And the later year, in 2016, he moved to Rugby School, and then he's back with another batch of the students, and we have this conversation for a week, and now it's our 3rd year, and I really hope that this will continue, and I'm really looking forward to it to grow.
The Tibet situation, shall we say, was something that I was first familiar with from one of my teachers when I was at school. And so when there was the opportunity to start another larger scale charitable trip, I asked if I could do this. We've built that relationship year on year. So after the first year of this trip, I moved to Rugby. And one of the very first things I did after I arrived was to ask if I could set up this link with Rugby, particularly because when I arrived, I realised that there is a long-standing historic link between Tibet and Rugby School, established by the 13th Dalai Lama in 1913.
Okay, and can you tell us why you decided to come on this particular trip?
It looked like an amazing experience, and the volunteering looked amazing to take part in, definitely, and to help and give something back.
My name is Millie, and I'm from Northamptonshire in England, and I've just finished my GCSEs and I'm about to start 3 A-levels. Well, we came to India on the 2nd of July, and since then we've visited the Taj Mahal and all sorts of places in Delhi, a lot of sightseeing, and we also went to Agra to visit the Agra fort, and then we've come here to Dharamsala to do some volunteering.
An animal? One that hops? A green?
Fox.
Oh, a fox?
Yeah.
Fox, or what's the one that jumps?
It's not.
They come together to make a baby.
Maybe.
Yeah. You mean you will teach them to make the baby?
We learn all the science.
Oh, I mean, if it's difficult to make a baby, we come to doctor like this?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I study English. Geography. Yeah. I like geography. Geography is my favourite. Geography. Yeah. Geography.
Nghe men chế độ ý, phải bố nì. ngā pōni ni tōng trō la jagal jui pōni tā jagal yōng ko jumsen te tsō tōnda nying tōni ui che ni pō la rōng mi ni lo jōng ke kōka mea yin chan che te yin tāngpo ti ni ba te ni jiang gu rōng chin te wa yuwa yin chan te jia la yui tā ngā gōmba la lobjong te pola lo Jesus lobjong chere teni jaga la ta lo Jesus no re inji lobse mixe ke yo mare ta monche te mani no chu ko jong re no chu ta ni po ke region tri ko jong.
I'm Millie Pryke from Rugby School and I'm 16 years old. Well, my mum gave me a book to read a while ago which was set in Tibet, so I was really interested in the way that they lived, and I was interested in the Free Tibet campaign, and coming here has only kind of confirmed my interest.
Ai ju jong go jumse te zo te ta ngarong ki mi ro te ndere ini chi in cha bachana chi ini chi ngo chu ko chi pa in to ju ye do da ta no je ke ni chi mamu bo chi pin to do tis so su kon lo je wa te ma jim chi
want to visit countries have a speak English for practice with the foreign people. It's my dream is learn English for teaching meditation and insight for foreigner people.
Yeah, and your favorite food? That's too many people.
I don't know, we'll come back to that.
Here, Tibet is not what is not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, do you remember your sister's name now? So, how would you say, so if you were to ask me a question, so ask me what I would buy my sister.
What are you buying?
What would you buy for your sister's birthday? So that's what I'd ask you. So if we're talking about presents, you say, what are you going to buy your sister?
They're exhausting, definitely, but they're really good. It's nice to learn about other people. You know, we talk about their life, their family history, where they came from, and it's fascinating to have those conversations, and it's interesting to see people open up more, because at the start of the kind of couple of hours everyone's very kind of reserved and doesn't say so much, and then as it goes on people become more chatty, more open, and it's really lovely.
아니 무슨 걔랑 군도 인지 보고도 좀 옆에 깨자 가래가래시
다 다당아 지도 인주 야부요 말에 인주 조래 대인산이 제 답정보 파이까니 예민다 제다 소소 가래가 요민다 칼라 가래가 요미 사자 가래가 요민다 다노 이제 다지 사잔들라 지 손노라고 간디 요미 그 거라고다 다티노리 드리 거도 제요.
Why do you want to become a teacher?
My country.
Sorry?
I take up to 3 months and back to my country.
Oh, okay. So then you're going back. Okay.
I little bit Chinese. Tibetan.
Okay. Quite mixed. You know loads.
Not really.
Well, it's good to have a bit of everything though, and then you can speak to lots of different people.
Is this
expensive?
The port.
Empty. Speak. Spoken. Yeah.
So they multiply. They make many organisms complicated work. So, do you know what this is in English?
It's very dangerous.
Tuberculosis?
No.
Bacteria?
Yeah, bacteria.
I'll write it down for you. Do you want me to write bacteria? Or I'll put it here and you can write it.
Can you think of any word beginning with S? Should we do stop or stand? The T like Yeah, spots. So they cross out the M. Put a cross with the M.
1 year.
1 year, man.
What do you practice?
I don't know.
What do you practice?
Oh, so I would meditate for an hour twice a day, and just that's about it really. Pray. I do a bit of yoga. But yeah, I'm very busy, so not much time for praying. And go to a temple in Thailand.
Are you joining job?
Yeah, I'll become a monk for maybe 3 or 4 months.
Oh yeah, you become a monk.
And then go to university.
With the new GCSE syllabus, where it requires a school to teach 2 religions, and particularly with our school's background, the primary religion that I teach is Christianity. But then, largely because of what I've learned on these trips in the last few years, I chose Buddhism as the secondary religion for our course. I do have to teach parts of Theravada Buddhism as well because it's in the syllabus, but actually these experiences have meant I've been able to put a lot more colour, as it were, into the teaching, particularly of the Mahayana and Vajrayana side of Buddhism.
How do you describe that? So that's a different category. That would be conjugations. That's quite confusing. So after wouldn't be an adjective. Yes. But it would be an opposite. So you could do after and before. That hit. So these are opposites as well, but these are also adjectives. So when you're saying this, your tongue has to be in between the teeth. So yeah. How do you know? How do you say this? No. Thousand. So it's not 1,000. It's 12,000. 1,000.
I think it's something that both sides can learn a huge amount from, because British people know a certain amount about India, often built on terrible cliches, but something, whereas Tibet and its history and its culture is mostly entirely alien to British people. So straight away, there's a lot for both sides to learn. Equally, the fact that lots of the people that they're speaking to are monks is another dimension, and the centrality of Buddhism and of religion in their lives is something that is a real eye-opener for our peoples. So, personally, I think every conversation is fascinating. It's useful for those with whom we're speaking in terms of putting the English that they've learnt into practice. On the spot, as it were, but it's also useful for our pupils and for me to just continue to learn a lot about a fascinating culture and history and language and religion that is so different to what we experience in the UK.
Yeah, so basically in England, many people play hockey, especially girls. Yeah, do you know what is hockey? Yes.
My name is Karen, I come from China, but I study in Rugby School in England. It's my 3rd year in high school. The philosophy teacher in our school organized this trip to India, and I know it includes some volunteering work, which I'm quite interested in, and I'm also quite interested in India, so I decided to come to this trip.
Like to play like other sports other than like football, to play, I mean like, I don't know, like cricket or something like that.
Yeah, I played cricket and badminton.
Oh, I really enjoy badminton.
Yeah. So anyone watch cricket?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because our school just I played like a football match in a monastery with the monks here. Yeah, it was really cool, and they're so good at it. I think our school lost the game.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've taught them in both Chinese and English, and I found them they are all really hardworking. I would say they changed my attitudes towards monks. In the morning, I taught in English, and in the afternoon, I taught Chinese. I found both of the students in my class, they have the curiosity to learning, and they are very polite. Also, I find their level of Chinese and English are much better than I thought. 然后我们学校周六也要上课的，所以说挺忙的平时。然后我们是3周放1次小短假期，一般在短假期的时候，我一般会去伦敦。
My name is Eric. I come from China. I'm currently studying in England. I've just finished my 1st year of A-level, and I'll be moving on to my 2nd year Yesterday I've been volunteering in an English class. I was teaching the beginners set, and today I heard that there's an opportunity to teach some Chinese to Tibetan students.
几个兄弟，我们打一模一样。我也在学习啊，一边学一边在这样。但是我很想学习那个汉族历史。汉族历史。对。
I will say most like firstly I get more like knowledge about their backgrounds because I don't really know their countries at that much before I come here. For example, some of them come from Nepal, some of them come from like Thailand, and I don't know much about them before. I'm quite interested in Buddhism because my grandparents are Buddhist, so I have already been to many temples in China, and then in our trip we also been to like many other different temples in India. I found this really interesting, and through my teaching they also told me a lot of things about their like beliefs and religions. I found this really unique.
I hope I'll be doing some more volunteering because that's really good experience for me as well. And I'll be heading back to China in 3 days. So hopefully in the last 3 days I can have some more volunteering time.
Anne, est-ce que tu es bouddhiste?
Non, je ne suis pas bouddhiste.
C'est pour ça que tu ne récites pas de mantra. Et n'est pas bouddhiste. Hein?
Oui.
Pour cette question. C'est tout?
Oui, c'est tout.
Non.
Tu aimes
Merci,
regarder quoi
merci.
sur la télé?
J'aime regarder la télé en hindi.
There were other trips. There's a trip to Madagascar where it's a lot of hiking and trekking, but there isn't so much volunteering, which is the difference between that and coming here. So that's why I chose to come here. I think there are politics trip to Washington and also other like classics trip to Rome, other like European countries. But I think I'm more interested into like less developed countries and doing some volunteering work.
Giving her money every 3 months. So every 3 months she will get 4,800. That means each month she can get 1,600. So all the sponsors which are under the Tibet Charity, they get 4,800 every 3 months.
So if they need medicine, do they have to buy that? Is that
yes, yes.
So I wasn't sure what to expect. I'd heard it would just be massaging people's feet, but we went around to lots of different houses. They lived in their like one room on their own, but they were all smiling the whole time. They were all so friendly.
How old is he?
81. Doesn't look 81.
81 너무 힘들었다. 한번 나오고 이제. 예. 구셔가지고 로하더니 지금.
저번에. 저번에 로주네 지금. 너야 로주선 때려봐. 너니 사선 로드든.
10 8 Yeah.
And then we went to one lady's house. She was knitting and she was teaching us how to knit the hats she was knitting, and she was laughing with us, and then the nurse said she had a lot of financial trouble and was telling us how she works really hard to pay her rent, and it really hit us hard because she started to cry, but she could tell she didn't want us to realise that she was upset.
How long ago did he leave Tibet? Since 1959. Where does his sponsor come from?
And we worked out how much she must earn, and it doesn't even cover the rent she has to pay to stay in that house each month. So they were taking her details so that they could figure out how to get her some money, sponsorship, and so they're going to put her details on the website. And I think after speaking to my friend yesterday who went, I'm definitely going to talk to my parents about giving some money towards her to help her pay the rent and have a better life.
The students in my classes, they're so interested to learn, which you don't always get back at school in England all the time. So it's really rewarding to help pass something on to them.
Kerja saya ke ni jeran TP Yapon tu ngarang nyon sula. Kai sena antang asu so yin ju jong de yang peju no ya se tong tong. Ni ama chi sik te so dikta ta no ye ke ja sia tang to le pe lok chi no tena ngarang la de ka se. Pinto chi mo chung do. Te de pe Yapon do se.
It's been very interesting because they've told me their stories of how they've got out of Tibet and what their life is like here and stuff, and it's been very satisfying, like helping them to learn English, and they're very focused and they want to learn as best as they can.
I heard about this trip from my parents who assigned me to this trip without me even knowing. So at first I was kind of confused about this trip, but after I got here I realised how good this opportunity is, and I'm really glad that I got assigned to this trip.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely made an impression, and I think it's made me realise, because I didn't know that much about what's happening in Tibet. It's not really spoken that much about in England, I don't think, so it's definitely made me realise that something needs to be done, and I think I'm going to definitely look into what I can do to help as well.
I've enjoyed seeing all aspects of the culture, but what I found most amazing, I think, is like the people's passion for the freedom of their country. So I've met people who haven't actually been to their homeland in Tibet, but yet they're still fighting for its freedom and to go there one day.
Ta mutu ni ona pe yapo yosare tengdo kai sena tu pido pe mongbo nga tanga ta wel pe mongbo selani pe de drop to sare san tanga ra ta na ta ina te chinambe kinne ta en ta jima do ya nga che chi gol sena ya.
So you have spent your vacation in a productive way, and this is something that we look forward to, especially the conversation classes. The students of Tibet Charity look forward to this program, and likewise I'm sure when you go around with the home nurses, it has also like maybe you have learned few things from the home nurses, and I'm sure the home nurses might have learned a bit from you as well. So thank you very much, and it has been a very good association that we had with Rugby School for the last few years. And last year Rugby School has provided us with some financial help so that we could provide textbooks free of cost to the students. In the past, when the students join Tibet Charity English language classes, they have to pay for the textbooks that they get from the organization. But now this year, thanks to your support, the students don't have to pay for the textbooks, and likewise, we could make some changes, make some improvements at the animal clinic, especially laying of tiles. If you had come here last year, the ground floor might have looked much worse than, especially during the rainy season, with all the muds. But thanks to the support that we have received from you, we have been able to lay proper tiles. So that's why it looks much better this year. So thank you very much for these presents, and thank you also for bringing the rainy season with you. This English rain that you brought with you was not so nice. Otherwise, everything else has been very nice, and thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing the next group, and I wish you all the best in your life. Wish you a safe journey back home, and maybe as you grow up, maybe some of you might want to come back as a volunteer teacher, or as a volunteer vet, or as a volunteer home nurse, and we will be very happy, very, very happy to have you back anytime, in the near future. Thank you so much.
Well, because it builds year on year, I hope that it can continue to do so for a long time. We had an hour and a half audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama last year, and very kindly he said that he has a strong emotional attachment to Rugby School, partially because the four original Tibetan boys who came to our school in 1913. One of them was his English interpreter in Lhasa in the 1940s and 50s. So with that support from the Dalai Lama and also from the Education Kalon, the Education Minister of the CTA, we're getting a lot of encouragement from this end, and it's great to continue to work with Tibet Charity. So I'd like to see it becoming a long-standing relationship, but two ways as well. So in February we had two 16, 17-year-old Tibetan boys from the Sambota Tibetan School in Ponta who came to Rugby School for a fortnight. So the pupils who are in this group that's here at the moment raised the money for their flights and their visas, and we brought them over. It wasn't entirely easy to get them to the UK because they don't have passports, because they have refugee status, but once they were in rugby they were fantastic. I think after 2 days it was just like having two extra lower six pupils. So I hope that we can do that again in the future, perhaps every couple of years, so that it is a two-way relationship, building, I say, on 100 years of history.
Nice to see you.